everyone. Welcome back to The Buzz. I'm your host, Lanette Hart, and you're watching Ask the Doc. Today I have with me Dr. Melanie Carvell with Carvell and Associates.
Yes.
Welcome.
Well, thank you.
Thanks for coming. I am so excited to have you here because obviously you're my eye doctor, and I think you're amazing, and I know other people will too. Tell me a little bit about how you got into being an eye doctor, and what were your thoughts on that?
Well, growing up, I needed glasses at a fairly young age, and I grew up in a small town in South Florida, and the optometrist there used to tell me all the time when I'd see him, Melanie, we need more women in optometry. And at the time, he was correct. Now, more than half the optometry school graduates are women, but not so much back then. So when I was in college and looking for something that I could feel passionate about, I remembered his words, and I ended up going to optometry school, and it was probably the best decision I ever made. I love what I do. I enjoy helping people. I enjoy talking with people and making their lives better by helping them see better.
Well, I know seeing is very, very important, and as I shared with you before, and I'll tell you a little bit about me. I'm the youngest of 8, and 6 out of 8 needed glasses. So when I was told by my eye doctor at an early age, I can't even remember, it was in elementary, that I needed glasses, I felt like I had arrived because I wanted to be like my big brothers and sisters, and so it was really kind of a special thing. And our eye doctor was basically a part of our family, and that's how I feel about you. We've been going to you for so many years, and we appreciate you. And so the eye health and your general health, can you tell me a little bit about that?
Well, a lot of people don't seem to, I think they dissociate the eyes from the rest of their body. And I like to tell folks, you know, your eyes are part of your body. They're impacted by things that happen in your body. You can have changes in your eye health. Most people know about diabetes, of course, hypertension, high cholesterol. If you have issues with your thyroid, pituitary, these are all things that can impact your eyes and eye health. And if your eye health is impacted, sometimes then that can also impact how you see. One of the other things, though, with that is often people will say, well, I'm seeing fine, so obviously my eyes are healthy. That's not always the case, because a lot of these things can be starting and progressing and not impacting how you see maybe centrally. And you have no idea that there's an issue until perhaps it's harder to control, or perhaps it's at the point where you have lost some vision. So it is, you know, besides the impact on your eye health, a lot of times things that we see in the back can impact your general health, like we talked about diabetes, hypertension, space-occupying lesions, all sorts of things that can be told by just looking into the eye.
Wow, I had no idea. Wow. Well, curious then, with me having 4 kids, 4 boys, how early should you start? And I know you are into pediatric eye care as well. Can you share a little bit about your thoughts on that?
Well, there's some different theories on when to see children. A lot of eye care professionals feel like, you know, children as an infant need their eyes examined. And there are optometrists that will see children as young as 3 months. That's kind of a specialty. I generally would recommend that if you have a child that's high risk, particularly if your pediatrician, neonatologist feels like they need to be examined as infants. We do have resources here in town of docs who see them. At my practice, because we do more of, say, a family, general, primary care, I recommend that children start having an eye exam by the age of about 4, okay? Now, that said, should a parent notice any problems, we would recommend that, you know, bring them in sooner. But for their general healthy child, no issues have been noted, we're going to say around age 4, because a lot of our kids are in school at pre-K 4. Granted, they're not reading at that age, but they are learning. And the other thing is this, if you catch something, most people have heard of like a lazy eye. If you catch that at an earlier stage, it's much easier to correct, and it's much better for the child's ability to learn. You don't want to find something at the age of 8 or 9, particularly if it's been impacting their learning. As you know, with your 4 boys, those first kindergarten, first grade, second grade, they're building the foundation. And if they're not able to see well or see easily, they're having a more difficult time building that foundation.
Well, that just told me something because I need to bring my little ones in to see you. I did not realize that we are behind on that. They have just been going with their, their general pediatric dentist to check their eyes.
Yeah.
So we'll be making some appointments very soon. Thank you for letting me know that. And just one last really quick question I just think is really cool. I know the lunar eclipse is coming up in August, right?
The solar eclipse?
Yeah,
Yes,
the
it
solar
is.
eclipse. Thank you so much for that. And we want to see it, but you have some thoughts on that, don't you?
It's August 21st, and while Jacksonville is not in the total, that's from Oregon down to South Carolina, we won't have a complete eclipse, we will have a partial eclipse.
Okay.
But regardless, partial, complete, the biggest risk is, we've all heard, don't look at a solar eclipse with your naked eye, and that is extremely important. You can have damage to your eyes. You can have the kind of damage that can possibly be permanent, okay? But even if it is not permanent, you're going to have some vision loss and some vision discomfort for quite a while until the eye does heal, and that's in the back. So one of the best things you can do indirect viewing, very simple, which you turn your back. This is something easy for anyone to do, even children. You turn your back to the eclipse, you take your hands and you make a little grid, and then you have a shadow. And looking through that grid, you will actually see the sun as it disappears, not completely for us, but disappears partially by the moon. You can also get solar eclipse glasses, and because this is such a big deal, there are some manufacturers, and they have been found that while they say that they are ISO compliant, they are not. So there are 4 manufacturers of solar eclipse glasses, and you can find those names on like the American Astronomical Society, the American Optometric Association has a link. I would really recommend that if you're going to purchase glasses, that you do that through one of those sites so that it's safe. Okay? Because this is an event that even for us in Jacksonville is really going to be something to see.
Wow.
And you're talking, these glasses are not expensive. You want to put them on, look up at the solar eclipse. Don't continue to stare at it, look away, but always have those glasses on. And one other piece of advice is don't feel like when you've got those glasses on that you can then look through a telescope or binoculars. Do not do that.
Okay.
Do not use something like that or a camera, all right? You want to have the glasses on to look at the eclipse, or like I said, you can make a pinhole viewer, or you can do something as low-tech as making a little grid with your hands.
That's really cool. That is just cool. I had no idea. We're excited. So last thing is, how do we get in contact with you? We want to learn more about general health, bringing our kids, connecting with you, and even cool stuff like the eclipse.
Yeah. As far as
just contacting you.
Oh, okay. Well, my office has a website, drcarvell.com, www. You can call the office. We have a Facebook page. We enjoy engaging with our patients. We're at Collins near Blanding, 5921 Collins Boulevard. We built a building there about 4 years ago, and even just a call to the office for any questions.
Well,
Always
you have some
respond.
really cool events too. I've been to a couple. So thanks so much for coming, Dr. Carvell. And thanks for joining and tuning in on The Buzz. If you like this video, share it with all your family and friends for all the cool information. See you next time.